Congratulations, you finally made it to 4 p.m. You know what that means. Happy hour. It's time to kick back, relax, and dive into the world of sports with the Young and Norvelle Show. Whether you're catching up on the latest scores, analyzing the big plays, or gearing up for tonight's games, we've got you covered. So grab a cold one, settle in, and let's talk sports. Here they are, Patrick Young and Terry Norvelle.
All right, here we go, man. We are kicking it off, and there is a lot to kick around. Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. Welcome to a brand spanking new week of the Young and Norvelle Show right here on Action Sports Jax. You know it by now. We are a proud part of the big network through Action News Jax, and you can, of course, go and hopefully download that app, and then every time you go there, click on the Action Sports Jax logo, and whichever show that we have on our network will pop up as right now we go 4 to 6, the Young and Norvelle Show. So very glad you have found us, are hanging out with us, and we hope to bring you an award-winning show. A lot to get to. Jaguars get a win, or was it a loss? But it was a win, but was it a franchise loss? I know there's a lot of talk about that. Sports, you want to win. Sometimes there are situations. The Jacksonville Jaguars will talk about a very ugly win. Win's a win, but maybe not the two best teams going, but somebody had to win. Looked like the Titans were going to pull out a 6-0 win. Jacksonville with a late score, and the Jags pull it out. You probably have heard, if you have not, and I know we have, 4 weeks left in the regular season. The Jaguars now 3-10. The Jaguars, if you went by the current draft order last week, Jacksonville would have had the first pick in the first round. One of one, the number one pick. And I think that is valuable for this particular franchise. I don't see the Jaguars having much wiggle room to get out of this ugly hole they're in. With that said, with the standings going into yesterday's game, had the draft started before kickoff yesterday, the Jaguars would have had the first pick in the first round, which gives you the opportunity to really do some wheeling and dealing. And I think that's where the Jaguars could be best served, where the franchise is at, where the roster is at, where the talent level is at. It's just my opinion. I'm going to stick by it. You may or may not agree with it. That's fine. Now, the way it played out last week, had the draft happened, the Jaguars would have had the first pick and could have wheeled and dealed. The Giants and the Raiders, I don't know, it might have been the opposite order. The Giants and the Raiders would have been 2 and 3. And both of those franchises are starved for a quarterback. That is a perfect scenario for the Jaguars. Last week, if the draft happened, Jacksonville would have picked up the phone and maybe even put them both on speakerphone, for God's sakes, and said, my man, Raiders, Giants, you guys both need quarterbacks. It's not a very deep quarterback draft, and this plays into the Jaguars' favor in this scenario. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, 1 and 2, 2 and 1. Who knows? Those are the two. Both franchises behind you last week are desperate for quarterback play, franchise quarterback. You sit there and you shop them both against each other and say, all right, my man, how bad do you want it? We want one of your starting offensive linemen and defensive back, and we'll swap picks with you. That'll get you ahead of whoever, and you get whoever of those two. Oh, what a perfect. I think that is the perfect scenario. Now, how do you do that? How do you lose games on purpose? You really should never lose games on purpose. But if you haven't followed today, after yesterday's results, the Jaguars win one game yesterday, but they now drop. If the draft was right now, the Jaguars would pick 5th. They went from 1 to 5. And they've got a schedule that they might win another couple games. Keep in mind, Tennessee, how bad would this be? If the Jaguars, in my opinion, don't get the 1 of 1, I think that's a blow. Do you realize it could play out? And the Jaguars could play into this playing out. What if a division rival got 1 of 1? What if the Titans tanked so bad? This would be hard to do. But I think this could happen. If the Titans tank so bad, now the Raiders and Giants would need to win a couple games. And keep in mind, the Jaguars played a couple of these guys still. What if the Titans got the 1-1? Ugh. Ugh. Lord knows they need a quarterback. You saw that yesterday. Anyway, is a win a loss? Is a loss a win? A win a loss? So you know what I mean. We'll kick it around. We'll talk about it. Hopefully, we'll have Patrick Young a little bit later, get his thoughts. Brent Beard should join us around 5:00. Of course, we'll talk some NFL with Brent, but we'll also obviously dive into the college football reveal, the final reveal. We know the top 12. By the way, it is Monday. We're live inside the Community First Igloo. You know, we're right off of Emerson, the beautiful ice skating facility, headquarters for the Jacksonville Icemen. We are set up in the huge sports bar with a full service restaurant. It's kind of embarrassing and not correct to say that Icebreakers Bar and Grill is a sports bar. It's a massive sports bar with a restaurant in the back. They really, really cook incredible, high-quality food here. The chefs take great pride in their menu, and they can come set you up if you've got a sports team banquet. Beautiful place. They got about 150 seats here, and they can configure this sports bar any way you want it. If you've got a work corporate function, a big meeting, a lunch meeting, you can't go wrong. If you're in this Emerson area right off I-95, you can't go wrong. Check it out. A hidden gem inside the Community First Igloo. You will find Icebreakers Bar and Grill. By the way, they do have open skate. You can probably see it behind me. Open skate. A lot of people do this every single time we're here. About an hour from now, you'll see that rink. There are two rinks here, two full-size ice rinks here inside the Community First Igloo. About an hour from now, they will section off that ice behind me, and, man, they'll have multiple little league ice hockey teams practicing and games and going at it. It's a big thing. I know you're saying ice hockey, Florida. What a big thing. I mean, we have two NHL teams that are very successful in our state, and a lot of people from up north have moved down. And ice skating, ice hockey was their thing. And boy, you can see it. This place packs out every Monday, every day of the week when the doors open. And again, kind of a fun thing to do as well if you haven't. Just kind of a getaway, date night, things like that. Come take advantage. You know, it's kind of cold in there, but come take advantage of the open skate, and you'll have a good time. I see a lot of people and a lot of different levels. You don't have to be, Nancy Kerrigan or somebody skating around winning a gold medal. A lot of different levels. People having a good time with kind of a different getaway, ice skating here at Community First Igloo, right off of Emerson Street. The college football playoff field is now set, as you know. My God, did they drag that thing out yesterday? God almighty. I started watching, an hour before noon, and you thought, okay, it's coming on at noon finally. They've had months and months and months and weeks and days and hours to talk about it. Oh, my God. Then high noon hits yesterday. You were probably watching. They must have screwed around and put charts and comparisons up. I think they blew at least 20 more minutes. It was 12:20 before they even got close. What a drag out! But we finally know the 12 teams. We'll go over those. We'll talk a lot with Brent Beard about the matchups. Interesting, some outdoor cold weather matchups, and there aren't a lot of deep South teams. Florida would be a deep South team. Miami would be a deep South team. Florida State, but not all. I mean, Tennessee goes to Ohio State. It gets cold in Tennessee. You look around Clemson, Texas. It gets cold in Austin, but Clemson, a little bit of a shock if it gets cold there. SMU gets cold in Dallas, but they have to go to State College. That could be nasty. And then, of course, Indiana, Notre Dame, Indiana. Really doesn't matter weather-wise where they're playing. They're so close. But we'll talk about it. The big argument, obviously, and I don't quite understand exactly, and I'm going to give you my opinion on the Alabama SMU Alabama. I'll give you my opinion who I think should have gotten in. I'm going to take a step back further. I don't quite understand, if you're being step back honest, I don't totally understand why the argument is Alabama versus SMU somebody needs to tell me why, if you want to have an argument, why the argument isn't Alabama, Boise State. I mean, how? And I get it, their conference was negotiated in, but boy, if you value strength of schedule, and I want to throw something else in there, shouldn't there be strength of losses as well, or call it ugly losses? With all that factored, there's no, other than having a sexy player. Ashton Genty is the sexy player for Boise State. Other than having a sexy player, why the hell is Boise State in the playoff? Why are people not just bashing Boise State? SMU, compared to Boise State, has a much bigger case to be in than the Broncos. The Mustangs versus the Broncos. Boise State, they played Oregon and lost. They lost the game. They have a sexy player. I get it. So they just slide under the radar. They've played nobody. Nobody. UNLV a week ago. We did it the other day. But, I mean, you wonder, why is it Alabama arguing about SMU? And I get it. SMU didn't win their conference. Boy, the issue here, the major issue is, and I've been screaming from the mountaintops. Brent Beard has been screaming from the mountaintops. It's an absolute farce that they put training wheels on one of the 12 bids and said a group of 5 gets a bid. That is what has killed this playoff. Why have we handicapped? Oh, well, you got to let one of the group. Why? There's your problem. I don't think it's Alabama versus SMU. I would be saying, if Alabama truly is that first one out, the most undeserving in the field, if you just step back and look in, is Boise State. They have a Heisman candidate. Well, does that also come with a training wheel entry into the playoff? No, that's terrible. And I'll say this, if Boise could win the damn title, I would say that. It's terrible. Absolutely. What if Boise State was 12-1 and they did not have a Heisman contender? I think a lot of you John Q. Public people would be bitching about Boise State. But for some reason, it's considered, well, with a lot of you folks, it's considered, well, they've got a sexy Heisman named player. I'll let them in. No, there's your problem. You may say, well, Terry, how can you put that much stock in one spot? Well, it's one of 12. That's a big deal. It's one of 12. That is a really, really big deal. Oh, my goodness. We'll also get into a little bit later. Florida gets their bowl matchup announced officially. Florida versus Tulane. Not the sexiest game out there. Certainly not sexy from Florida's point of view. Georgia, a lot of stuff going around on with the Georgia football program. The injuries, both quarterbacks got roughed up. Carson Beck sounds like a shoulder issue. We'll get more information over the next couple of days. One benefit for Georgia, they don't play Saturday. This thing takes off almost 2 weeks. So a long time, a fairly decent amount of time to either heal up or get some game plan in. Gunnar Stockton didn't play bad. Man, he got racked up in that game. By the way, Texas, Georgia, SEC championship game. What an ugly game early. Ugly. And, you know, a lot of people may look at the Texas loss and say, oh, man, poor Longhorns. They lost that thing in overtime. Wow, that had to hurt. They lost the game in overtime. Man, they came so close, but they lost it in overtime. Let me correct you. Texas did not lose that football game in overtime. The Texas Longhorns lost that ball game the other night against Georgia. They lost that game in the first half. My God, Texas. They had what? 260 yards in the first half. Georgia had like 59. They had 200 more yards than Georgia. Texas lost that ball game in the first half. Georgia hung around, and I think Georgia's got a nice draw. I think they've got a real nice draw. The portal has opened. We'll try and track that. It is open for 20 days in college football. They can throw their name in from between today the 9th through the 28th, I think it is. So like right at 20 days, the portal will stay open. You do not have to make your school choice known, but you've got to throw your name in the portal so it's not considered tampering. It's kind of where it's at. So the portal will open, or is open, starting today for right at 20 days. It'll close up. Again, you can then still make your decision. You can come out January 5th and say, hey, I'm going to XYZ. But you need to put your name in the portal so it's not tampering. And then the portal will open up again in mid-April after most people have had their spring practices and their spring game. The football portal opens up again in mid-April for like 10 days. So there's 2 portal periods coming up before we kick off the regular season next year. And don't forget, the second signing period will come up the first Wednesday of February. But most people have already signed. A few will still pick a sign in February. But most of your high school guys have already signed. So we'll track some portal. Brent Beard will probably have a lot of portal information when we get him on coming up in about 45 minutes here. Brent will join us for a couple of segments. We'll also talk some Icemen hockey about 4:40 with Alex Reed. We do that every Monday here from Icebreakers Bar and Grill. The bowl games I mentioned, Florida has their assignment. Miami as well. Miami going to the Pop-Tart Bowl. I'd like to go to that bowl because, Terry likes him some Pop-Tarts. And if it's anything like the Tostitos Bowl that I've gone to before, where there were Tostitos everywhere, I got to believe there's Pop-Tarts all over. But Miami will go to their bowl game. Who would think? I don't even remember who they're playing. Iowa State, I think. Yeah, I think it's Iowa State, Miami. Ugh. Florida will go and play Tulane in Tampa. I can't even remember what the new name for that bowl game is, but Florida Tulane. I was underwhelmed. Nothing against Tulane, but this is certainly a game where the sexy factor, the marquee factor is one way. I mean, if you're Tulane, you get to play Florida. I mean, you get big eyes if you're a Tulane fan or a player. You're playing the Gators, SEC, big bad SEC. An easy get up for Tulane. Not so much from the Florida side, I don't think. I mean, no disrespect to Tulane, but it's Tulane football. I mean, they're not exactly turning your head. It is good that it's in Tampa. That is a stronghold for Florida. I was hoping Florida, Georgia Tech, Gator Bowl, but it's not just a matter of the Gator Bowl does have tie-ins with the SEC and the ACC, and then there's kind of a special compensation for Notre Dame if they're available. But that doesn't mean that the Gator Bowl just says, okay, we've got the SEC, we want Florida, and we'll take ACC, Georgia Tech. There's a pecking order. There's a choosing order. So I think Florida probably got squeezed out. I would have loved Florida, Georgia Tech. I think that would have been a fun game, an interesting game. I like the two brands. Georgia Tech's on a high. They'll be excited. But let me go before our first break. Let me go down 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6 bowl games I just want to watch. There's only about 6 or 7 outside of the national championship college football playoff bowls. Forget them. Those are on a whole different side. But in terms of general bowl games, and I'll give you a little dissertation of why personally, there's only about 6 I really want to see. And, we'll kind of put Florida, Tulane. Obviously, I want to see the Gators. I'm a huge Gator fan. I want Florida to win every game. I don't love the matchup, though. It's just not sexy enough for me. So put that one aside a little bit. Birmingham Bowl. I hope I'm around and I'm available for the time. Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech. I think that'll be a fun game. I think that's a nice matchup. That's a situation where you don't get in bowl season all the time. 2 programs that they're jacked out of their mind to be in that bowl game. Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt. Georgia Tech goes bowling a lot more than Vanderbilt, but 2 programs that don't always go to bowl games, 2 programs that had upsets this year, Two programs that feel like they're on the uprise. I think Vandy, Georgia Tech will be a fun one to watch in the Birmingham Bowl. Now, this is provided most of your frontline guys play in all these games. Okay, we don't know any way of knowing that right now. Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, I've got some interest in that one. This next one is maybe a negative interest that I have. I want to see what happens, and these guys never get together. Texas A&M, USC, Las Vegas Bowl. USC with a loss would finish under 500. I'll pull for Texas A&M. You never see them play, and I want to see that game. I'll kind of pay attention if I'm around. The third game that turned my head, I think this is going to be a fun game. The Alamo Bowl, BYU taking on Colorado. Again, provided most of the frontline people play in all these games I'm talking about, I think that'll be a fun game. I think that'll be a lot of fun. BYU, Colorado, a couple schools in the same geographical area. Couple schools had pretty good years. BYU got off to a really fast start. I mean, people forget BYU probably one game away from the college football playoff. They're 10-2. Pretty good football team. BYU, Colorado turns my head a little bit. Alabama, Michigan, just those two names next to each other look so impressive. Michigan's not great. They get together in Tampa. Alabama, I think Alabama will show up just crazy motivated in that game and look to put a big old number on Michigan. I'll watch that. Big Ten SEC kind of turns my head. Another Big Ten SEC that kind of turns my head, and I'm kind of a junkie. Maybe this is not on a lot of people's list. South Carolina taking on Illinois in the Citrus Bowl. Brett Bielema, the Illinois coach, is, I kind of still consider him an SEC type coach, hard-nosed guy. That'll be fun, I think. It won't be the prettiest bowl game, but I'll watch that one if I'm around. And I don't mind the Gator Bowl game. I wish it was Florida, Georgia Tech, but I'm fine. I hope the thing times out, and maybe we can get down there and do a show or go to the game after the show, what have you. Duke taking on Ole Miss. And I'll tell you one thing. Your boy Manny Diaz, I've never thought he's much of a head coach. You can't discredit what he's done this year with Duke, though. Duke's 9-3. Duke, and I don't know if the last ranking has been out, but, Duke's been back half of the top 10 most of the season. Duke's had a really good year. So there's some of the bowl games that'll turn my head a little bit. Obviously, the big bowls, the college football playoff bowls will. And you probably know this by now, but the college football playoff will start 1 week from Friday, 1 week from this Friday. And the first weekend is Friday, Saturday, 1 game Friday, 3 games on Saturday. Obviously, the Friday game is at night. That is 8 p.m. on the 20th, a week from Friday. Notre Dame will host Indiana, a couple teams from the same state, with Georgia awaiting the winner. That's Friday at 8 o'clock. 1 game as the playoff kicks off. Then the following Saturday, the next day, a week from this Saturday, all day. Just settle in all day long. You've got noon, 4, and 8. All those on December 21st. Your noon game will be Penn State SMU with Boise State awaiting the winner. Your 4 o'clock game will be Texas Clemson with Arizona State awaiting the winner. And your evening game, a week from Saturday, December 21st. This is the one I want to see when they first open this thing up. How about 8 o'clock, Saturday the 21st, your third and final game that day from the Horseshoe, could be about 4 degrees. Tennessee from the SEC rolling into Columbus, Ohio to take on Ohio State. 8 o'clock prime time next Saturday. The winner will go face Oregon. And the next round of games, it'll be a 1-3 again. You'll have 1 game on December 31st. That'll be Boise taking on Penn State SMU. And then the following day, New Year's Day, will feel a lot like previous New Year's Days from many years gone by. You'll have 3 games on January 1st. 1, 5, of course, the Rose Bowl, and then 8:45. That'll get us down to 2 on January 9th and 10th, and that'll get us to the national championship game on January 20th. So there you have it. A week from Friday, December 20th, we start 1 month of college football playoffs. It's not perfect. It's not as big as I want it, but it is another step in the right direction. All right, let's step out of here for a second. We'll regroup, come back here to Icebreakers Bar and Grill. Don't forget they have the, it's pretty neat. They've got the ice bar. They've got about a 6-inch frozen, just like the ice rink, frozen top of their bar where you can put your beverage and it'll stay cold. Pretty cool. They got a lot of stuff here, including a massive, massive big screen that is absolutely crystal clear for all the big sporting events. Check them out in the area. Right off of Emerson, you will find the Community First Igloo, and inside Icebreakers Bar and Grill. One down, a long way to go. We're talking some Icemen hockey in about 20 minutes, and then Brent Beard, college football, a deep dive starting in hour number 2 on the Young and Norvelle Show.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports Jax 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice 3-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jax app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jax 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device, you're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jax Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
There's a good overhead shot of the Miller Electric Center Jaguars training facility down there by the stadium, not too far from where we are at. We are inside the Community First Igloo. You know this by now. It is right off of the Emerson Street exit on I-95. You pass it all the time, and you may have never been in here. Well, you are missing out on a really, really nice facility. They put about $25 million refurbishing the place. This is the corporate headquarters for the Jacksonville Icemen. They are deep into their season right now. It'll last, another 3 or 4 months. So you've got plenty of time to enjoy some Icemen games down in the arena. But the training corporate headquarters and their training facility is right here inside the Community First Igloo, where we broadcast our show, the Young and Norvelle Show, every Monday. Right here from inside the Igloo, you will find Icebreakers Bar and Grill, tremendous place, a restaurant built around a big old sports bar because their food is restaurant quality, not sports bar. I promise you that. Terry Norvelle here. We'll hear from Alex Reed from the Icemen coming up as we do every Monday with our Icemen report about 4:40-ish today. And then hour number 2, really looking forward to seeing or hearing and talking to Brent Beard with everything that broke down this past weekend, the conference championship games. Pretty good games, I guess. Georgia, Texas, ugly at first, dramatic at the end, but not a real clean played game. I think Texas really feels like they let one get away. Georgia hung in there. They battled through injuries. Certainly the Carson Beck injury is the forefront of college football right now. Gunnar Stockton played pretty well, had an ugly throw and took a vicious hit, but he held it down long enough for Georgia to make a comeback. And boy, Texas left a lot of points on the field in the first half. That was the ball game. Arizona State surprised me. I didn't know they were that physical. My God, I know about the running back, but boy, Arizona State just beat up Iowa State. And Iowa State, historically, particularly with Matt Campbell the last 10 years, they've prided themselves on physicality. And boy, ASU just right in the nose, just beat them up. Power run, not just their power running attack. They just beat them up across the board. The other games, Friday night, Boise State pushed a little bit once they got ahead 21-0. They hung on. And, of course, Big Ten and then the ACC. What about that game? SMU. I want to get into that. We'll get with Brent Beard. I didn't think there was any way, the way things played out, I would have given that last bid if it came down to Alabama SMU, and I don't think it should have come down to those two. I still think Boise State skated in. Anyway, that's another discussion. I would have gone SMU. That may surprise some people, but I hope I'm honest and fair and give you my honest opinion. I try to do that every time I'm on this show. And am I a massive SEC guy? Absolutely. Did Alabama have a couple of nice wins? Sure they did. They beat Georgia. We look back now at the Alabama-Georgia game, and you wonder a little bit, was it a fluke? A little bit. And I know Alabama got way ahead, and that counts. But upsets happen in college football. Don't forget that. And Alabama also had a nice win over South Carolina that turned out to be really nice. Those are nice wins. Alabama also had 2 really, really ugly losses. Alabama lost to 2 teams that are 6-6, Vanderbilt and Oklahoma. Oklahoma is not a good football team. Vanderbilt is a neat story. We all love the story that is Vanderbilt football this year. They're still 6-6 Vanderbilt. When I look at SMU, do they have any big wins? No. They don't have any big wins. They have their schedule. But I will say this, and I kind of jotted some things down with SMU. SMU, I jotted down the teams they beat this year that have a Vanderbilt, Oklahoma feel to them. A Vanderbilt, Oklahoma record, okay? Remember, those 2 were 6-6. And 3 teams came to mind on the SMU. These are Vanderbilt, Oklahoma-esque teams that were on SMU's schedule. 7-5 Pittsburgh. 7-5 Boston College, 6-6 California. Those 3 really mirror Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, 2 of the 3 teams that beat Alabama. same record. They're basically the same programs. SMU did not lose to two of those. What does that say? To me, you have to also talk about ugliness of losses. Strength of schedule, ugliness of losses. Alabama had two nice wins, Georgia and South Carolina. You now, though, when you step back, and they lost to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma. Tennessee beat them 24-17. That's no shame in that. Those are two big-time teams in the playoff. Alabama laid eggs to bad teams. Sometimes two good teams play and one does lay an egg. I think the right decision, if it was Alabama SMU, I think you had to go SMU. They lost their conference championship game on a 56-yard field goal. The SEC gets 3 in, the Big Ten gets 4. That's not going to sit real well. And I thought it was ironic today. I was reading some of the headlines and dove into the Alabama headline that said basically Alabama athletic directors and higher-ups are going to examine their schedule, their non-conference schedule. In my opinion, Alabama did not get chosen because they didn't have a strong enough out-of-conference schedule. Alabama didn't get chosen because they lost not one but two really ugly football games. You can't go and lose twice to 6-6 teams and still get it. I just don't think you can do that. I will say this, as long as we have a committee, they may need to start really being transparent and honest about the strength of schedule. It really must not be a big factor. It really, I mean, if you looked at just straight schedule, it's hard to get Notre Dame in this damn thing. If you look at strength of schedule and what I said when we got this show started, ugliness of losses, Notre Dame. The other one, Indiana, Boise, Indiana, and Notre Dame. Goodness gracious. Tell me where strength of schedule is at. Just terrible. But those two, not one. You know, one hiccup against 6-6 Oklahoma. Okay, on the road at their place. Okay. Oklahoma's not very good this year. One hiccup. Okay. Two of those. And again, Vanderbilt with Pavia at quarterback. They're little Vandy. They are a fun story. Clarkley's done a great job bringing them from where they were at to where they are. They're Vandy. They're Vanderbilt, and they're 6-6. I think we are giving that win, Vanderbilt over Alabama, a little too much credence right now. They're still 6-6 Vandy. That's almost like giving Notre Dame huge credence for beating Navy and Army. Okay, that's wonderful, but they're still Navy, and they're still Army. Anyway, that's my take on it. Let's take a break here. We'll hopefully get joined or be joined by Alex Reed, the Director of Communications and Broadcasting for the Jacksonville Icemen, as we are coming up on the quarter pole. They play 72 regular season games. The Icemen are, in the area of 20 games. The league is starting to separate itself a little bit. We'll talk to Alex about that. Some of the neat promotions coming up the next several days. So if you want to get out to an Icemen game, you've got several chances coming up. Then it kind of gets dark around the league around Christmas, and then off and running near New Year's and into 2025. We'll talk some Icemen hockey on the other side and a bunch of college football coming up, hour number 2 on the Young and Norvelle Show, live from Icebreakers Bar and Grill.
For those dealing with pain from a sports injury, arthritis, or spine condition, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists offers innovative new non-surgical options. Our regenerative medicine treatments, including platelet-rich plasma and other regenerative treatments, use your body's own restorative cells to aid in treating injuries. These procedures are performed in our offices and typically require minimal downtime. If you want to get back to doing what you love, our regenerative treatment options may be right for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Rick's Jags Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Rick's Jags Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Rick's Jags Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jax to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jax in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jax 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms, whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV. You can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jax 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who is coming to your house. You know they will be well trained, and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
There you go. Angry Gator. Hungry Gator. Look out for that Gator. Welcome back to the Young and Norvelle Show. A little bit of Gator talk as Florida has their bowl destination and opponent announced. They are heading down to Tampa to take on Tulane. That is on December 20th. So as we welcome you back, the Young and Norvelle Show coming to you live from Icebreakers Bar and Grill. Super menu. I've had a lot of stuff. I take a lot of food out of here on Monday. Want to get home and cook. I put in an order about 30 minutes before the show, and I take it out of here. They've got a neat ice bar. Literally, they've got a strip of ice rink where you put your beer, your beverage, your soda, and it stays cold right here on this huge 150 seat big sports bar inside the Community First Igloo right off of Emerson here in Jacksonville, the Icemen's headquarters. Wanted to get a couple things before we hopefully talk some Icemen hockey with Alex Reed, Director of Communications here for the Icemen. Still some more noise about Bill Belichick talking to North Carolina about their open football job. Belichick 72. I think it would be a unique situation if he took the North Carolina football job. I don't think Bill Belichick would have done this 10 years ago, but now we're in the era of the portal, which is the recruiting. And I don't think I think money talks more than head coaches flying around and visiting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights with recruits in their home. I could see Belichick signing up a general manager, recruiting coordinator, and Belichick doing nothing but coaching. The word is, though, as we welcome our buddy Alex Reed coming over, the word is if Belichick took the North Carolina job, yeah, you can come on, buddy, good to see you. The word is, let me get that headset on right there, young man. and we'll get your opinion on this. It's kind of neat to hear. You heard Bill Belichick's talking to North Carolina a little bit about that football job that's open. Bill Belichick.
Wow, that Bill Belichick. And that UNC, is that right?
North Carolina,
Oh,
yeah. And it sounds like it's legit. They've talked for about a week. Belichick's 72. And digging a little deeper, it sounds like they're legit. And we're in an era now where a Belichick probably wouldn't have taken this job 10 years ago. With the NIL, the old traditional recruiting stinks, particularly if you're an established coach. Living rooms, having to kiss kids' rear ends and uncles and dad, right? But it's a little different now. Money talks. Money does the NIL, does the recruit. So Belichick could take a job like North Carolina, get him a general manager, basically, to run the football side off the field, get him recruiting guy, and all he could do is coach football. But the spinoff, Alex, is word is Belichick saying, listen, if we're going to talk about this, I want it guaranteed that my son, his son's a pretty established assistant coach in the NFL. I want my son to be my successor. So I think he's holding North Carolina hostage a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. I could see that. It's interesting.
Interesting, though, isn't it?
It really is. And it is interesting, though. I'd be interested to see how, we look at the way things are now at the NIL deals and the transfer portals. And, it's like these old school coaches. I don't know how you build a program anymore.
I think he would say,
I wonder how
he would say football GM and recruiting. You put the team on the field and I coach them.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work.
But I could see a lot of kids just wanting to go play for him just because of the name and I played for Bill Belichick. I don't know. I can see that being something that would help him in the recruiting part.
I will say this, and Brent Beard, our college football expert that I've known forever, he agrees. I've always thought North Carolina is a bit of a hidden football gym. I think it's the state university. It's deep old Southern roots. There's money there.
Yeah.
I've always thought if they got that. Now, Mac Brown had pretty good success his first go around at North Carolina. Always thought that's a little bit of a hidden gem if they got the right guy. I don't know if Belichick's the guy, though, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. No, I agree with that. UNC's it's a beautiful campus.
It's gorgeous up there.
I think it is. It would be a great job for somebody, no doubt. But you're right. It's that is interesting. That was the first. So I walked up. You told me about that. That Belichick
popped up a week or so ago. Belichick and North Carolina talk, and he's admitted it on the record. Yeah, we're talking. You can talk. Hey, pretty girl walks by, you can talk to her, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what's happening. So
let's talk some Icemen. Alex Reed from the Jacksonville Icemen. Let's review our week. I like to do that. Did we go 1-3? Am I counting wrong? What did we do last week?
Last week
we got an early win, I thought, early in the week.
Right. Yeah, we had we did. So we basically went 2-2. We had a Tuesday.
That's what we did.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it was a weird week. We don't often play at home on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but we did. But went 2-2. It was it was a pretty decent week. We just we dropped though 2 of the 3 games to our big rival, the Everblades.
And that's what's bugging me, man. I'm now in this thing, and I'm tired of these Florida Everblades. And
a lot of people are.
They're good.
They are good.
They're good.
They're good.
And they're 16-4 good. I think they're on top of the division with South Carolina at 16-4. They're good.
Yes.
Is this a mental block now with your team?
No, I don't think so.
You're as good as those guys.
Yeah, we are. We got a good enough team. Obviously we beat them the one game, and then the Saturday game, down there.
Yes.
I thought 5-on-5. They didn't really do much against us, but that game was decided with the special teams. They got 2 power play goals. And that's it. When you get in these tight games, especially in the South Division, because it is so competitive and the games are always really tight, you got to win that special teams battles. You got your PK's got to be ready and your power play's got to score.
Yeah,
we didn't do that, and Florida did. And I think that was the difference in it. But boy, it was. I'll tell you what, it was a reminder this past week that the rivalry is still strong because it was physical.
It's funny you said that, and I ran into you a couple of times at the arena. I told you I do some work around the arena with the events and games and stuff, and I worked a couple of morning setup Icemen games, so I've run into you a couple of times.
Yeah.
When I showed up, I can't remember. I guess it was the next morning after the first game, and I'm asking my guys, hey, what's going on? We're looking at what all we got to do to get the arena ready for the Icemen. And hey, what happened last night? How'd the game I read? And they said it was bloody. It was. It was a little bloody, if you know what I mean.
It was. There was.
Stop! Bring the ice cleaner guys on.
No. There was fights. There was, there was fights. There's a lot of big hits. There were some injuries. There was a suspension. That's about par for the course now, I guess, with these two teams. They just don't like each other very much, and you basically got two alphas in the room, right?
Yeah.
And they just don't agree.
When professional hockey teams, I'm sure they do like football, they go and watch tape of the previous games. Does the coach click through the fights, or do they stop on the fights, do you think? Or
they watch the fights.
They
There's
watch
no
the
doubt.
fights.
No, especially our head coach Brandon Mashinter. He that was kind of what he did a little bit of in his career. I mean, he played majority of his career at a high level, but he's got games in the NHL, and he was doing it up there and took on some heavies up there. So he's a guy that I think appreciates that, and he enjoys that part of the game. Obviously there's a time and a place for it, but he knows that. But it is one of those things when it comes to the game film, they're definitely slowing it down. They're not passing through it. Let's just watch this fight.
There's a lot of, I think, the unwritten rule in hockey, much like football, when Trevor Lawrence took that cheap shot immediately, and then Tuesday or Monday film or whatever, you don't want to. It's unwritten. You better go stand up for your quarterback.
Yeah, 100%.
You don't want to have that clicker and that coach go, well, wait a minute, hey, 87, why were you standing 20 yards away?
100%.
Hey, 21, that's your quarterback they just took a cheap shot at.
Yeah.
Go do something.
Yeah, no.
Don't get caught naked on the film, right?
Yeah, and that happens in hockey. And I love that the Jags, responded that way that they did. I mean, you do have to stick up for your teammates and all that. I remember, several years ago when Andy Dalton was with the Cowboys, he took a hit very similar to that, and nobody did anything. And it was terrible. So,
terrible.
I love that response by the Jags. And then you see that in hockey, a cheap shot somebody, then there's going to be a retaliation to it. And honestly, there was a big hit in the game by a Florida player. One of our guys knocked him out. Our guy out of the game.
Was it clean or was it blindside?
It was.
There's clean and there's not.
It was kind of late more than anything.
Okay.
And but it was a big crushing hit. That guy was a very physical player that did it. But from the rest of the game on, he was being followed around. Every time he was out there, somebody was taking a whack at him and taking a shot. But again, it's just that's the nature of hockey as well. Is just stick up for your teammates, and sometimes you gotta settle a score, let's say, and even it out.
Yeah,
so
sure. Looking at the league, we're talking with Alex Reed from the Jacksonville Icemen. We do this every Monday, and we're going to set up this week some neat stuff coming up heading into the big Christmas holiday. Looking at the league, we mentioned I mentioned a moment ago at the top, you got a couple 16-4. South Carolina's good.
Yeah.
Florida's good. Looks like the league's starting to kind of take shape. The Icemen 11 wins, kind of on that upper echelon, and then that group of 7-8 wins. They're kind of there's 4 or 5 teams. Looks like the league's starting to kind of spread out a little bit with the upper and the bottom.
Yeah, you get a little bit of separation, especially in some of the other divisions. And there's no doubt about that. And that's the thing. You got to stay with the pace, right? And you want to be around. The top 4 teams in each division make the playoffs, and the first 2 rounds of the playoffs are within your division. So, but yeah, you want to be in the top 4. You want to be hanging around. You don't want to pull away because you look at Florida and South Carolina in our division. Their records are really great right now.
Yeah.
And, and we're certainly in the mix. There's no doubt, but you need to be around there at the end. You don't want to lag far behind because it's tough in this division to catch up. And it seems like every night when you watch the scoreboard and look at it, the South Division, every game's going to overtime.
Yeah.
And it means everybody's getting at least a point in the standings at least. So it is difficult. But if you look at some of the other divisions, you're starting to see in those other divisions in our league who the heavy hitters are, because they are starting to pull away. But still very tight in the South. But, I think we're in a pretty good position.
When I'm around the arena and around the Icemen and around the Icemen's area and the arena and see players and all and see you, and I always, over the last several years, I see Jacksonville Icemen and stuff being worn that says Kelly Cup, Kelly Cup, Kelly Cup. I know they want it to say Kelly Cup champions.
Yes.
It says Kelly Cup.
Yeah, it's I think probably a Kelly Cup playoff shirt. Like that.
You want that,
but you want the one
champions.
Yeah, you want the one that has the cup on it and it says champion.
Yeah, and that's what we're chasing, right?
Absolutely, 100%. And unfortunately, you look at the last 3 years, we've had a good enough team to get to the playoffs, and but 3 years in a row we lost to those champions, right?
Yeah,
and that's the thing. I think when you look at it, I thought really last couple of years, Florida and the Icemen are arguably 2 of the best teams in the league, but because of the playoff format, they have to meet in the first or second round.
Yeah.
And so that's what's so tough. And so the fact that they've had to go through us 3 times, it does leave a sour taste in the mouths of the players that have been there, the fan base, and certainly the coaches. And I thought Brandon Mashinter, our head coach, said it best going into the season. I think he did an interview with Brent and Austin earlier in the year. But he said, the last 3 years, I feel like we had a great team, a good enough team to get us to the playoffs, but wasn't quite a team to get us through the playoffs. And I think that's what he wanted to change a little bit this year with some of the personnel decisions, get a little bit bigger, a little bit meaner.
And you mentioned that earlier.
A little bit tougher. Yeah. And I think
you mentioned it earlier.
And I think that's what's going to have to take because I think the division is even more strenuous than it has been in years past. I think all the teams are really good. It's going to be fun to watch. I mean, every game is big now, and that's good though. I mean, that's good. You look at a 72-game season, you could say, just one loss. But I'll tell you, in that South Division, and I'm just bragging about it because it is. There's a whole nother level to it, and players that come from another division and come play here, they'll tell you there's a difference in the quality of play. But I think these games are really big because points are tough to come by.
I was on the schedule this morning. And, man, I know it's 72 games, then postseason. This thing gets started in October.
Yeah.
And it rolls through. Hopefully you're still skating in May.
In May, yeah. You want to be playing in May.
That's a long
and if you get to the finals of the league, you're playing in June.
Wow.
Yeah. So you want to be playing in May for sure. You definitely want to be playing in June.
That is something.
I mean, it's like a whole other 2 months. But, for playoffs, if you go all the way. But, again, that's what makes it worth it, right?
Sure.
If you do win it, that you've accomplished something that's not easy to do. And the fact that Florida's been able to do it 3 years in a row, that's it's pretty remarkable.
Let's talk Icemen this week. Unique week going into kind of the Christmas week where it's going to kind of be dark around the league for a few days.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be around Christmas Eve and
Christmas.
Of course. But we've got Wednesday, another $3 beer and wine.
Yes.
Right? That's
every
this
Wednesday
home.
Yes, we're at home. Yep.
Those are fun.
Those are fun. Yep. If you're looking for something to do midweek and get the beer special, that's great. $3 beer and wine for every Wednesday game that we have.
And it's a 7 o'clock puck drop, right?
Yes, 7 o'clock.
Which I think is really good because that sets up. I mean, families are there. I've been a million games. There's a lot of families. But Wednesday, beer, wine, it sets up that perfect. The fellas are talking at work and saying, hey, let's cut out about 4, go have dinner.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? Go straight from work on a Wednesday. That could be your kind of happy hour.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it's great. It's good pretty much all game long until about the third period. They might be slowing it down. But, throughout the game, you can get those specials. It's a great deal. And you get to watch a little hockey. I mean, it is great.
Just head from work, you and the fellas or whatever, loosen the tie, roll the sleeves up, and go have a few drinks and, enjoy some good hockey.
No, you're
so
right.
That's Wednesday. Wednesday, $3 beer, wine. Greenville comes to town. Friday, you're on the road, just up the road at Atlanta.
Yep.
And then Saturday is a big day.
Yep.
I hear a guy in a big red suit showing up on Saturday, maybe.
He is.
What do we got going? An ugly sweater and caroling? What the all in one day? And a game?
Yes, all in one game. We're getting you into the Christmas spirit. Our team's going to be wearing, you look at ugly Christmas sweaters. Well, we're going to be wearing ugly Christmas sweater jerseys.
Oh my. Where do you get these at?
We got great designers and great manufacturers that can make all these things. But just to get everyone in the Christmas spirit, those will be auctioned off, I believe, after the game. So be a lot of fun. Santa will be there. So a great day to bring the kids. And we're playing the Everblades. I mean, come on. Listen, I'm going to tell you, it was very intense this past weekend with them. And I would imagine Saturday when they see each other for the first time since this past weekend, I would imagine it's going to be just another exciting, action-packed night. Just two teams that hate each other.
But that is this Saturday.
Yes.
So it's ugly sweater. Fans are encouraged to wear their ugly sweaters. Too,
yes,
right?
100%.
Wear your ugly sweater.
Yeah, wear yours.
Because that camera finds people in the crowd. You're gonna get on that camera, I bet you.
Yeah, if you wear the uglier the better. No, there's no doubt. Yeah, just wear yours. I mean, we're just trying to get into the Christmas spirit. Obviously, that time of year, we just like to do different themes, and it's just kind of our Christmas celebration.
And I'm
game.
assuming the caroling will probably be during dead periods and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised they don't start singing some Christmas, right?
There's gonna be some caroling going on. I actually don't. I missed the meeting today on what was going to be happening with the caroling, but I know there will be caroling at the game too. So.
And you can break out in song at any time
if you want. We're not gonna make people do it, but if they want to do it, they can jump in with the group. So. We'll see. Maybe there's some videos of the guys singing, the players singing as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they got.
I got a feeling the fans are going to take over at some point.
At some point, yeah.
And then Santa Claus, like we said, will be available for photos, and that'll be neat.
Yeah. No, exactly. So and we're trying to get everybody in this fun, friendly Christmas spirit. Yet we're
I gotta believe
we're gonna play a physical game with the Everblades.
I gotta believe that Fang will be doing some Christmas themed stuff probably.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
You know,
he dresses the part every game.
And then so that's through Saturday. So a couple chances this week. If you got family in town looking to have something fun to do, and then the league's kind of dark going into that, right? And then I think we go on the road for a little while. The Icemen.
Yeah, we got some road games coming up, and it is back and forth, and then you're right, holidays come up, and then we come back after the holidays and get right back into it. It's not a very long break, that's for sure. And then, but we got some good promotions coming up. I know in January we've got the Lizard Kings weekend.
I know, I saw that.
That's going to be
awesome. That 2 games?
Yeah, 2 games.
Yeah, 2
yep,
games
weekend,
honoring the Lizard Kings.
Correct. Yep, we'll be wearing.
That's pretty cool.
It is cool.
Because it was. Is the word neophyte? Jacksonville was really a neophyte town when it came to hockey when the Lizard Kings.
Yeah,
they were helping really just.
Yeah,
you know what I mean by that? It was 20 years ago.
Oh,
or whatever.
Yeah.
And hockey, Jacksonville, and it was a kind of a neat marriage though, and the community kind of took to the Lizard Kings, and they had the cool jerseys. They had real. You may could find this on YouTube. They had really. At the time, out there TV commercials too. They had fun. I don't know if you've heard about it or seen them. They had some,
with the goalie with the lizard tongue.
They're cutting edge for way back then.
Catching a puck.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. That's going to be neat. That's going to be a old home week kind of. Those 2 games are kind of back to back, I think.
Yeah, they're back to back. We'll be wearing Lizard Kings jerseys. We'll have we'll probably have 90s music playing, and
you still see Lizard King jerseys around town.
Oh yeah,
I still see them around town.
They're at every game.
I see them in the games too.
You see those. You see the Barracuda jerseys.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's no doubt you see all that.
Yeah.
So that stuff's coming up in January. Some good promotions. We also have a really cool night too. It's our affiliate night. Of course, we're affiliated with the Buffalo Sabres and the Rochester Americans. So for that night, we're going to change our name. We're going to be the Jacksonville Ice Buffaloes.
Okay.
We got a new logo. We're going to have an affiliate themed jersey. I mean, it's going to look really nice. Might even have some special guests. I can't announce those just yet, but just kind of paying homage to our affiliate a little bit in Buffalo and Rochester, and it's going to be fun for the fans. And if you're from any of those cities, that'd be the night you want to come to. Because it's just going to be cool. We'll have more details on it, but that's coming up in January as well.
A lot of stuff.
A lot of great stuff.
2 chances definitely 2 chances to catch the Icemen this week, and then still a bunch of games. Alex, thank you as always.
Yeah.
Enjoy our Mondays. I really do.
Yeah, I do. Me as well, Terry. Thanks again.
Have a good rest of your afternoon.
All right, you too.
That is my buddy Alex Reed from the Icemen. All right, 1 down, 1 to go. We'll step aside. Brent Beard on deck. Man, we got to dive into a wild top 12 now. 12 teams are left in the college football playoff. We'll dive into that on the other side. The Young and Norvelle Show coming to you from Icebreakers Bar and Grill. Thank you.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
For over 20 years, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has been providing the highest level of orthopedic and spine care to patients throughout Northeast Florida. Now, we're making that same great care even more convenient with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Direct, a walk-in clinic where you can be seen for pain or injuries with no appointment needed. Staffed by orthopedic physicians and specialists, we offer everything from diagnosis and treatment to imaging and bracing, all with no appointment needed. For more information, hours, and locations, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jax to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jax in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jax 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms, whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV. You can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jax 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer.
You can schedule a test drive at NimnickBuickGMC.com. And while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
How you doing? Good to see you. Coming back here live from Icebreakers Bar and Grill. There's a good shot of the Heisman trophies down in Gainesville, and they hope to clear a spot right by that guy in the blue shirt right there. They hope to clear a spot for a 4th one, may say Lagway on it one day. You never know. Welcome back to the Young and Norvelle Show. Having a good time. Patrick having some internet issues. He's trying to join us. We'll catch up with him, but we do have, as promised, in hour number 2, it is time to dive deep into this college football playoff field with Brent Beard. We talked a little bit the first hour. Brent, it's official now. 12 teams are in it. You can't win it unless you're in it. We got a lot of stuff to break down, including the Georgia-Texas game. What a weird game that was. Texas 200 yards more in the first half, and they can't close out Georgia. What are your thoughts? I'll let you. Thank you so much. Getting a little water here, Brent. What are your thoughts, Brent? The discussion point around the country is Alabama, SMU, Alabama. I look at that a little different. I wonder why Boise State's not the villain. And I wonder why the committee is given a training wheel. That one spot is big in a 12-team playoff. I don't think Boise State should be there.
That's a really good point, too. Terry, let me say real quick before we dive into this, the deadline for us Heisman voters just passed.
Okay.
It was 5 o'clock. We will know by 7 or 7:30 tonight who's going to New York this weekend.
Okay, good.
I think we can figure out who it is.
Yeah.
Without any problem. That's one. Two, the portal opened today. Mm-hmm. If anybody's been on Twitter, that's why you've got all these remarks. And number 3, again, is we will see the 2025 SEC football schedule for all the teams Wednesday night at 7 o'clock on the SEC network. Now, why they're doing it now, frankly, is beyond me instead of waiting to do this in January. But as you know, the league does what it wants to.
Yeah.
And that is what it does. So, so people can look forward to that this week. And bowl season starts Saturday.
How about that?
We'll go over that as it goes along. So it's a busy week, but to Terry's point, we do have the 12. There's certainly a lot of criticism to the committee. It's a hard job. It's frankly an impossible job in a lot of ways. I will say this, and we'll be more specific about this later on in the week. The committee, now this is going to be brought up at some point this week. The committee has about 4 people in that committee with ACC ties, Atlantic Coast Conference, and they basically got one with SEC ties, and that's the Arkansas AD. So that now Mike Riley, who used to play football for Alabama, is mentioned there too. But his affiliation, in other words, when he has to step out of the room,
right,
is for another school, and I believe that's Oregon State. When he does. So we will hear about that, but a lot of focus day on one Greg Sankey as to who wanted 4 SEC teams, and instead he got 3. The Big Ten got 4, and much to his chagrin, the ACC got 2.
Yeah, how about that? Did in your opinion, if Clemson could have beat SMU by 14? Would that have done it? I'm okay, and I'll throw this out. I'll throw you a question. I'll give you a comment as well. I'm okay with SMU getting that spot. I thought one hiccup to a 6-6 team is acceptable. I just don't know if you can get in with Alabama with 2 losses to 6-6 football teams. Thoughts on a couple of that, Brent?
Well, they had, I mean, both teams. Alabama and SMU had, it was pretty razor thin, frankly, in some ways. But here's the reality. When ESPN flashed up the resume comparison, there really was no comparison in the resumes. Alabama had clearly the better resume with that. But to your point, as SMU either wins or they get blown out, Alabama probably would have been in. I mean, there's no question you got to win one more game. You don't have any issues, and you don't leave it up to a committee at that point either. So, but much to be done over the next few days. But I think what Terry, I think what upset folks was basically teams like. I don't think they had that much trouble with Boise State and Arizona State being in it, but while were they seeded 3 and 4?
Getting buys. Wow.
Yeah.
But I'll go back to Boise State. And I'm not picking on them. I'm really my beef is with the people that put this thing together. And they had to go, okay, well, listen, we got to hold a spot for the little guy. So we're going to call it the group of 5, and they get 1 spot. Well, Brent, they don't deserve a spot. I'm sorry, and I know that sounds harsh, but imagine if there was not that bylaw and the group of 5 doesn't get a bid. That one bid would have gotten Alabama in, and there would have been nobody complaining. There wouldn't have been a bit of it.
Yeah.
Alabama and SMU would be in. There's your 12-team field, and there would be no bitching. But because we do I call it the training wheels, I think that 1 spot is a big spot, don't you?
Yeah. Well, it obviously proved to be. Now look, here's the thing, Terry. Boise State in the CFP rankings is 9. But when you look at what they've got, that they are a 3rd seed and going to play the winner of Penn State and SMU. You've got like Oregon, the 1 seed that has and they probably need to explain why does Oregon have a tougher path to actually get to the semifinals than some of the lesser ranked teams.
Yeah. Oregon is sitting out waiting on the winner of what? Tennessee, Ohio State. Tennessee, Ohio State is going to roll into the Rose Bowl, the winner of that game.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on how they Obviously, you just gave us your thoughts on Arizona State and Boise State. It's amazing that they're, I think, seated that high. And in a contest like this, if you can win a championship and play only 3 games instead of 4, I'll take that in a heartbeat.
Well, especially if you've got a team that is banged up. I mean, for instance, Georgia, people may not have heard this, but Carson Beck's going to be out for their first game. And what maybe, I won't say is severe, but it is severe, is their punter now is out for the year.
Yeah, how about that? Is that Beck news pretty much official? Is he going to definitely miss the first game?
Yeah. I guess anything can happen between now and then, but that's what you're getting out of Georgia right now.
Yeah.
And again, hey, as you and I've talked about, you think Kirby's a little bit nervous that he didn't play Gunnar Stockton a little bit more than he did?
Yeah, a little bit this year, but Georgia does catch a bit of a break with the bye. I mean, almost 2 weeks versus 1 week, to get ready. Clemson, Texas, Tennessee, Ohio State, SMU, Penn State, and Indiana, Notre Dame. I mean, I know if you are a one-loss team in the SEC and or the Big Ten, you're going to get in.
Oh, yeah.
Indiana is a one-loss team, but obviously strength of schedule can't matter that much. They literally cruised through a schedule.
They did.
And don't get me started on Notre Dame. My God, Notre Dame, with the way their schedule played out, Notre Dame didn't even have to show up. I mean, they were in the playoff.
No doubt. And listen, Terry, what's unusual is you had several teams that did not have top 25 wins. Unbelievably, one of those was Texas. SMU obviously was, and they were the other, and then Indiana played the bottom of the barrel Big Ten schedule, 28-53 record, strength of schedule at 68.
Changing subjects and going back to Texas after watching the Texas-Georgia game. Obviously, I was in the stadium when Florida beat Ole Miss, and Ole Miss knew they were out probably when they lost that game.
Right.
That Ole Miss team, and you've talked about, your friends have talked, that Ole Miss team, watching them trudge off Florida field, they were a beaten team.
They were.
Mentally, they
really were.
I was not in the stadium the other night for Texas's loss to Georgia, but I got the feeling that Texas team, they're going to have trouble getting back up. That Texas team, particularly the way they dominated the first half.
Really did.
And they didn't put the game away. That Texas team, if I was a Texas fan, I'd be worried the way they slanked off that field. They were a mentally beaten team after the way that played out in the second half and overtime.
They were. Yeah, I agree with that. And look, I could kudos though to Georgia.
Sure.
For what they've done with particularly their defense is the thing that's been really interesting. Let me give you the comment from Georgia on Carson Beck, elbow injury. He and the family are exploring treatment options.
Okay.
So as a matter of fact, that will be a great question on Wednesday.
Obviously, will be, Doctor.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
And Brent, not being a physician, either one of us, anybody, when he went to throw that ball and he got hit at the same time, you could kind of tell something in there, be it wrist, elbow, or shoulder, was kind of hyperextended or something. It looked, he wanted his arm to go one direction and the swipe was going in the other direction.
Yeah.
And that energy's got to go somewhere. That collision, it looked bad. I'll tell you, Georgia, though, particularly in that second half, they made their own breaks, man.
They did.
They got fired up. And I can't remember what drive it was, but it was a very important drive in that game. 2 fumbles, and Georgia recovered them both.
Yeah, really.
I mean, the ball just bounced perfect.
It did. Well, and their defense played their best game of the year in the SEC.
Yeah.
Georgia had 6 sacks, held Texas to 31 yards on 28 carries after holding him at 29 yards and 27 carries. Dominated the red zone again, 2 turnovers. Boy, would it be safe to say Texas probably doesn't want to see Georgia again?
No, they do not. And, I do know Big Banks was out for Texas.
Yes.
But Georgia beat them 4-on-5 across the line of scrimmage. It wasn't just one guy. And Banks played the first game, I think. But again, Texas, their own self to blame. They had 260 yards, and Georgia had 59 in the first half.
Oh,
and Texas couldn't. Game was lost in the first half, wasn't it?
It was. And speaking of running backs, the Wisner kid, you see in the previous 2 games, Texas had run for 500 yards.
Huge
combined.
number.
So they really rang the ball. But man, I tell you what, again, as you and I have said for years, I don't care who you're playing. If you can run the ball and stop the run, you can win the game.
Yeah, you got a really good chance to win the game. Obviously, we've got about 2 weeks and a couple more times this week to stay in the college football playoff setup, and we will. Florida had their bowl matchup announced. So did Miami. Who's Miami have? Iowa State in the Pop-Tart Bowl, which I'd love to go to that. I love Pop-Tarts. Florida, not the sexiest bowl matchup from the Gators' perspective. If you're Tulane, you love it because you're playing a brand. But I think Tulane's quarterback has announced he's coming out. I don't think Tulane's quarterback is going. Yeah, I don't think they're starting quarterback. So that takes some luster, but not the sexiest on paper matchup for Florida. I was counting for something more like Florida, Georgia Tech.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, and I was really hoping Florida was coming to the Gator Bowl.
Same here. That's what I'm hoping for.
That would have been tremendous. Listen, you'll appreciate this greatly. and people haven't heard this. Now, this is pretty convoluted, and we're going to tie this together in a minute.
Okay.
Mike Gundy is actually coming back to Oklahoma State.
Isn't that amazing? I'm stunned.
There was a time when I texted you, they had fired him. But they got it all together and worked it out. Now, here's the funny part about it is now you do things like this when you're desperate. Mike Gundy has hired Todd Grantham as his defensive coordinator to come in and fix everything. Now, look, Terry, you and I both know Grantham has help me with this. Grantham has, we've got a good first year, but the second year, the wheels come off wherever Grantham is, and he starts barking at people from the sidelines and things like that. Look, Mike Gundy will find this out, but I don't think if you need to get your program straightened out, you go get Todd Grantham, do you, Terry?
My first thought was, did every single high school defensive coordinator in the state of Oklahoma tell him no? And then he found Grantham's business card in the bottom of one of his desk drawers, because that is his, if that happened to Todd Grantham, what you described once in his career, it's happened like 7 times exactly
really
like that. Every place he goes, somehow, maybe people don't know his scheme the first year, and he has a decent first year, and it goes to what?
It does.
In the next year. What about, this is so small, but I mean, Scott Frost coming back to UCF. Yeah. I don't think it's a terrible move for UCF.
No. Look, they were both happy together years ago. And even Frost said, sometimes you got to go back where you're the happiest. Now, this doesn't mean it's going to work. But my stars, it can't be any worse than Gus Malzahn, frankly. So maybe they will. The problem you have with Frost was when you got into Nebraska, I mean, I'm being facetious, but you'll get it. I mean, they were like 2-20 in one-score games in Nebraska. He could never win those. So, maybe it might work. Who knows? It's possible.
I thought it was interesting, but we'll have a lot of firings coming up probably. What do you think the next few days?
Oh, I think we'll I think they'll start today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we've got the bowls planned, and all of that, and frankly, I'm surprised we haven't had more today than we did.
Yeah, I thought we'd have some more maybe this evening. I don't want people to get fired, but it's kind of Black Monday around college football after everything's announced. Brent, I'm gonna keep you one more segment if you can. Before we break though, go back to this SEC schedule reveal football on the 11th. I think we said Wednesday. Is it going to be? Do you think, is there anything new going to be announced? Because as I understand it, we kind of know.
Yeah,
we're just going to switch the venues from this year to next year. Is there? Do you anticipate anything coming out that we don't really know?
No, none unless the league wants to have. I mean, one thing they may do. Bama goes to Georgia. I mean, would you do that to open the season?
Yeah.
Or something like that. But listen, here's the thing with Georgia. Did you see this? And a lot of people didn't. Georgia's celebrating. They've got the microphone with Kirby, and Kirby is just absolutely downgrading the Greg Sankey for the schedule. When look, he's got to know all that flips next year.
Yeah,
and they're saying all those road games are coming back home. I mean, my stars, Terry. You and I said at one point it seemed like Georgia played every home game. Every week. So. Why you do that if you're Kirby is beyond me.
But like you said, other than some specialties, I mean, what can be announced other than, like you said, Alabama, Georgia, first of the year, or we're going to go ahead and ABC has already said Florida, Texas, and Gainesville is 8 o'clock on that night.
Right.
That's about the only little things. Nope, you're not going to have anybody, I don't think, give up a home game and say Georgia and Alabama are playing in the Rose. They're not giving up their location.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with that. What you may have will be something like, a double header in November. And that evening double header would, as you said, would be Texas at Florida. Or something like that. But no, I mean, really beyond that, and there may be, by the way, I think LSU opens the season with Clemson. Now that could be your Monday, we may know the Monday night Labor Day game or something like that. But
that means LSU is 0-1 because they lose every opener under Brian Kelly, right?
Well, they've after the USC law that they've lost at least 4 or 5 in a row.
Maybe the announcement's going to be nobody can play FSU because nobody knows what conference they're going to be in.
Yeah. Well,
isn't that weird how quiet that's been?
Well, let me tell you a little bit about that too. And by the way, FSU opens the season with Alabama at home.
Thank you very much.
With that too, what I've also heard is it's not off, but you're right. Florida State's move has been very quiet, and the people that I've heard from have said it's certainly not over, but it's a little less likely to happen than we thought it would be. So
I would be mad if I was Miami. I would be in lockstep with FSU even more now, because if I'm Miami, I go, see, this is what FSU was complaining about. Our conference isn't strong enough. Here's Miami 10-2, and they go, if our conference was any better, we'd have better wins, and we might be one of the teams.
Well, right. Although they can't complain too much. We're getting 2 teams.
Yes, exactly.
And listen, here's the crazy thing about that. This is SMU's first year in the conference, and you have had teams in that conference, what, Terry, for decades now that hadn't won jack squat. And SMU gets in their first year.
SMU has gotten as deep as Miami ever has. Miami only made one championship game, and they got bombed 38-3.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like Clemson. Brent, hang tight. Let's talk a little college basketball on the other side as we're starting to wind down on a busy Monday. Brent Beard, Terry Norvelle, and you when we come back live from Icebreakers Bar and Grill.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Rick's Jags Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Rick's Jags Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Rick's Jags Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports Jax 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice three-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jax app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jax 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device. You're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jax Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 143-2579.
All right, let's good look at a bunch of good-looking college helmets. Gators right there in the middle. That's the College Hall of Fame, I do believe, the wall. I've yet to go there. I think Brent Beard has been there before. As we welcome you back, I think we still have Brent. Did I lose Brent? I might have. I hope I didn't hit the wrong button. Brent, are you there? Once, twice? Think we might have lost Brent.
No, I'm right here.
There he is. Want to make sure you're still hanging out there.
Yeah.
And, have you been to that College Hall of Fame? I've never been there.
I have been to College Hall of Fame for SEC Media Days, and we will be there again this year, next year.
It's in Atlanta again?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
It's in Atlanta again. They love the College Football Hall of Fame. The SEC does.
Yeah.
They will absolutely go out of their way to go to Atlanta, which is easily the most difficult and challenging place to have any kind of event. As you know, down the College Football Hall of Fame is downtown. It's not that far from the Mercedes-Benz. So yes, that's where we'll be this year again for media days.
Is it worth the trip for a fan? Is it?
But I would say if you can find a parking place, yes.
Yeah, it's one of those deals.
Oh yeah, I mean you can be. I mean, you can be mystified with the thing. Just looking at the helmets, and they've got film of all these guys in the Hall of Fame, and I would say it at least once in your life, if you're a college football fan, as ardent as you and I are, but people need to go.
Yeah, definitely. Brent, let's hold for a second on the football talk, and I don't know if you've had a chance to kind of glance at this week's college basketball top 25. SEC better be careful. They may turn into a basketball league. Have you seen Tennessee is now number 1 in the nation in college basketball.
Yeah.
Auburn had a good week. They lost a tough game at Duke, so they stay at 2. You've got Kentucky at 5. Alabama had a great week. They're 7. Florida is 9.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 5 of the top 10 are in the SEC this week. Oklahoma's 13. Texas A&M 17. Ole Miss 19. And Mississippi State, I think, let me scroll down, is 25.
Right. Oh, yeah.
How about that?
Oh, yeah. Now, we've got a lot of tournaments that are coming up, too, but and that'll be fun.
And, Brent, you know, let me interject.
Yeah.
I did not mention Missouri in the top 25. They're not in there, but they just knocked off number 1 Kansas. Another great basketball win a couple of days ago for the SEC. They knocked off Kansas.
You're right about that. Oh, yeah. And by the way, you've got, let's see, Tennessee plays Miami tomorrow night. Arkansas and Michigan are playing. Looking for some other. Now, A&M and Purdue play Saturday at noon. That's a good game. Auburn plays Ohio State, who is not ranked. Florida plays Arizona State.
Yeah, they're pretty good this year. They're 8-1, and they're pretty good. Arizona State should be a good test.
And I know you've got trying to see if there's any other. Now Creighton plays at Alabama. Creighton is a really undervalued team.
Well, they knocked off Kansas to knock them undefeated. Then Missouri beat them again. Creighton has beat the number 1 team in the nation. They are good.
And by the way, Terry, what used to be a really good game, Florida plays North Carolina a week from tomorrow on the 17th. And look, Alabama went up to North Carolina and just absolutely dismantled them.
That was a beatdown. I watched that game.
That thing wasn't even close.
Alabama toyed with North Carolina in the Dean Dome.
They did.
Alabama was so much more athletic. It was hard to believe. I mean, they just toyed. They'd get up 16-18. They'd mess around, get it to 10. They'd go back to – they just toyed with them. Yeah. And I'll tell you one thing. Auburn's good, man. Auburn is good. They're tough. It's a tough league right now, man.
It is a wonderful thing to watch at this point too. The players of the week, to your point a minute ago, Tamar Bates of Missouri was the player of the week. Asa Newell of Georgia was the freshman of the week. Now, you and I both know neither one of us think Mike White's a very good good basketball coach.
No.
But still, I mean, the league right now is really the best league in the country.
God bless Mike White. I think he's a pretty nice guy. I think Mike White, after watching him a long time, in the final 5 minutes of a basketball game, if Mike White's coaching, I think he's got a better chance to win the game, his team win the game, if they're trailing by 4 instead of up by 12.
Yeah. No
Does that
question.
make sense, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Oh, yeah. That's Mike White basketball there, yes.
Brent, a few more minutes with you here as we wrap up a fast-moving Monday. I jotted down 5 or 6 bowl games that kind of just, we all have our own tastes and things like that.
Yeah.
Just 5 or 6 that I hope I'm around the TV, and you know how the holidays get and all.
Oh, sure.
I'm just going to go down and let you comment on them a little bit. I hope I can watch Vandy, Georgia Tech.
Really?
I'm looking forward to that game.
I know. Listen, that's one of the best. It's in Birmingham with the Birmingham Bowl. That's one of the best bowls that they've ever had.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun little game. Both programs ecstatic to. You don't get it all the time where both programs are ecstatic to be at the bowl game. These two are going to be happy. The fan base, I think they'll put a decent little crowd there. It's an exciting time around both of those programs. I don't know why this one intrigues me. Just they never play. I want to see Texas A&M just beat the snot out of USC.
Hey, and the great thing about it is, and see, I love games like this. This is a 10:30 start. Now, you and I won't make it through it, but
YouTube, baby, YouTube.
Yeah, but it is fun to be able to see that. Now, there's some of these games, Missouri and Iowa. Speaking of sleeping, that'd be a great cure for insomnia there. Now, Terry, Alabama's playing Michigan.
That's one of my games.
And they played each other like 3 times in the last 5 bowl games.
Yeah, that's one of mine. Those 2 programs on the same field excites me. It's just the uniforms and all. That's one I'll look at. I'll tell you what I think is going to be a hell of an entertaining game. And this is all provided if most people play, okay?
Yeah.
They all hold out, and that's across the board, not just this next game. But I think BYU Colorado could be a lot of fun if they all play.
Could.
If they all show up and want to play.
I agree with that. Terry, does Ole Miss and Duke do anything for you in the Gator Bowl?
I got it number 6 of the non-playoff games. I think it's going to be fun having Lane Kiffin here for a week.
It will.
I think.
It will. I agree.
And Duke's excited as hell. It's been a good year for Duke. I hope that works out and we can do some stuff around the Gator Bowl. I think that'll be what do you think? You like that game? I don't mind that terribly.
No. I just was hoping they'd have Florida.
Same here.
I don't know if the Alabama situation messed that up. Or what necessarily happened with that, but I really thought the Gator Bowl, and a lot of people did, would have Florida. I will be interested to see the explanation on that one.
Yeah, and my guess is just, there is a picking order, right?
There is.
There's a picking order, if you can. And I'm assuming that Tampa Bowl, did they get to go first and they grab Florida?
Maybe in that maybe in what happened. By the way,
to a degree, I'm stunned that Florida and Georgia Tech aren't playing. I thought that was a natural game. Go ahead, I cut you off.
No, you're fine. Oklahoma Navy, I think that will be maybe what, Terry, 13-10.
Yeah, it'll be a tough one.
With that one, Texas Tech, Arkansas, that's in the Liberty Bowl. I'm not overly excited about that one. South Carolina, Illinois in the Citrus Bowl.
I kind of like that. Bielema's kind of a hard-nosed SEC Big Ten guy. And
Correct.
I think South Carolina is going to take that bowl game serious.
I think that. I don't think there's any doubt about that. By the way, do you see where Brian Harsin is going to Cal as offensive coordinator?
Yes, I did see that. And did you see where Kurt Herbstreit's boy committed to Michigan?
Yeah, to Michigan.
And I don't think that's just a perfunctory. He must be a player. He must be a decent player.
Yeah. Well,
hey, let me ask you a question. We're in the portal. Portal just opened up. There'll be a lot of news coming out the next week or so. I think a lot of guys are going to go ahead and announce. With regard to Alabama, I know they've got the who's the kid that played a little bit, highly recruited quarterback behind Milroe.
Ty Simpson's going to stay.
Yeah. will Alabama just for some insurance go out and see if they could get a portal quarterback? You think?
Yeah, but they might. Now they've got Dylan Line. Well, let me put it this way: they've got 3 quarterbacks behind Milroe, Ty Simpson, Dylan Lonigan, and then they've got another kid that he's 6'6" who came from Washington.
Okay.
With DeBoer.
Came with DeBoer.
So they've got 3 guys, unless one of them ends up in the portal. But look, here's reality for Alabama. They're really hoping Milroe goes to the NFL.
Sure.
And they just had enough. Listen, Milroe is Anthony Richardson part 2.
Yeah.
Good great athlete. Can't you and I are more dependable throwing the ball than he is short.
Yeah,
so,
and there's a good his long balls just like Richardson. That's his pass. His pass is he throw it far, and he's got good touch. He's I don't know. He reads a long pass a lot better than short pass. Brent, we've got a few more minutes with you here, so we're just about actually wrapping up the show in a few minutes. What did you make about as ugly a game as you could have in the NFL yesterday? Jaguars pull one out. Two bad teams. Are they helping or hurting their franchise overall by winning games? They fell with that win last week. If the draft was held, they would have had the first pick. This week, because they won, they've dropped down to the 5th pick. Is that helping? Is that helping this franchise?
No, it really isn't. I mean, if you're going to be, I guess if you've got a top 5 pick, you can you've still got some leverage. But my thought to that was, boy, I tell you one thing: if you wanted to keep up, if you wanted to catch up when you're asleep during that game, then would have been a wonderful time to have done it. But my other thought was, and look, I'm not trying to be facetious. But Terry, my Stars, how bad are the Titans? That they're in a complete rebuild with that. By the way, we've got a little chat here, and you forgive me if you mentioned this about I don't. Sorry, Terry, I just don't see where the Jags have benefited from being the number 1. On that one.
Let me step in. I'm not saying this franchise needs the number 1 pick so they can pick one player. Yeah. I'm saying this franchise is so deep right now in a hole, they need the 1 pick to use it as
leverage
bait to go get multiple players.
No doubt.
That you can get if you have the 1 pick, because the Raiders and the Giants are definitely both looking for a quarterback.
Yeah.
And the Jaguars could be calling both of them and saying, I want a starting lineman, I want a secondary guy, and I want your pick.
Yes.
You can't get that with the 5th pick or the 6th pick or the 7th pick. You're just going to get 1 player. So that I want to make sure I have it not explained that the way I wanted to.
Well, and I can tell you this, my offer would be, we want 2 offensive linemen, not just 1, because if they don't, again, as you and I said ad nauseum here, if they don't get that fixed, that the rest of it's not going to matter.
Yeah. I'm going to use this as my, it hit me last week, and I'm going to use it all off season. And I mean it. Trevor Lawrence, he'll be going into his 5th year.
Yeah.
But his football odometer is going into about his 10th year. There's a lot of miles on that body right now.
Yep, you're right.
I mean,
you're right.
His football odometer, he's been beat up. I think.
Well, and Terry too. And let's be fair to the fans here. I mean, everybody loves Trevor, but the reality is, with this year coming up, Trevor's got to show some improvement, does he not?
Gosh darn, didn't we all say that last year?
Yes.
Yeah. I heard you say that. Yeah, it's unique, man. It's a unique situation. But man, you look up and quarterbacks don't last. I mean, everybody doesn't play like Tom Brady.
No, they really
he's
don't.
going into his 5th year, and I'm telling you, that body's beat up, man. They got to protect him. I don't know, but the big question is, was yesterday a win or a loss? For the franchise.
Only Jacksonville can make that into a loss. The way that it's going, but yes, but again, as you and I've said, if they've got a top 5 pick, that's going to be leveraged into multiple picks and draft choices.
Yeah. Here's one for you that would be real salt in the wound, and this would take some doing. The Jaguars would have to, the Raiders and the Giants would have to keep losing. That's not that tough. What if Tennessee, who just went to 3-10 as well, right? They're 3-10. What if Tennessee just tanked the rest of the way and they got the first pick?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be salt in the wound. And they traded for a couple guys in a pick,
But, people don't get this sometimes. When you're as bad as some of these teams are, even if you've got one of the top picks, that's only one guy. And
that's what I'm saying.
And there's no doubt that is it. Hey, but by the way, Terry, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, are you living right when your field goal kicker doinks it off the crossbar and it falls through and you win the game?
And I mean, I guess that's part of being a back-to-back Super Bowl champion. You're lucky is good and good is lucky, right? They kind of. But I'll tell you, there's another team. I was having fun yesterday watching football, talking to my buddies. Brent Beard, you mentioned Georgia seems to always play home game.
Yeah.
Has Kansas City ever played a game out of Arrowhead Stadium?
I'm not sure they have.
Every game they ever play.
Oh, yeah.
Am I the only one that feels like that?
And Terry, every game, and I'm sure they have, but it seems like every game they play is either Sunday night or Monday night.
Yeah, absolutely. That's part of winning Super Bowls, I guess. But I'm telling you, I guess I'm the only guy. It seems like every game Patrick Mahomes plays is in Arrowhead Stadium.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you one thing, he is a master class, Holmes is, in winning games on the last drive.
Man.
I mean, what he can do in being mobile, and I've seen more of this lately, is quarterbacks running toward the line of scrimmage, and right before they get the line of scrimmage, throwing to a wide open receiver. In it, it's what you see from some of these guys who are really good. You don't have to throw it 40 and 50 yards on every play. You've usually got somebody wide open over the middle, and they take advantage of it.
I tell you, man, I remember I'm like everybody else, I think, when Mahomes was doing his thing 6 or 7 years ago, there were times I go, dude, he's not as good as he is lucky. but you start doing that year after year after year, and you look right and you throw left, and then you scramble, and he does it so much that's his game.
Oh yeah. I tell you what, I've got a good buddy who's a big Steeler fan, and they are having a very nice year.
Yeah.
So far this year, so they are, and unfortunately for them, they're in the best of the two conferences right now. It is your reality to it too. So
that's true. I'll tell you who's really good, and they're going to get more and more of that lovable loser history on their side is Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit's really good.
Yeah.
Detroit, in our eras, Detroit ran through a period where they were terrible for years.
Yeah.
And you felt sorry for Barry Sanders. And even before Barry Sanders,
Mm-hmm.
you felt bad. But they're good. And I could see a lot of the country falling in that lovable loser category and pulling for those guys. Brent, we got about a minute to go. You don't have to tell us because you're not supposed to. Have you sent your Heisman ballot in?
Oh, yeah, I did that yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Was it easy?
It was, yes. Yeah, it was much easier to do it. Now, here's the thing. For anybody listening, we will know certainly by 10 o'clock and probably by 7:30 who is going to New York.
And they pretty much started doing only 3 now. They used to bring 5 at a time sometimes.
Yeah, they used to. And I think, and look, this is one of those years. they will probably have they'll do well to have 3. It may even be 2. By the way, Terry, I think this is big. Caleb Banks, the defensive tackle at Florida, is announcing he's coming back.
Huge news. He's a guy, and we got 40 seconds. He's a guy that the proverbial light came on. Big, huge inside defensive tackle.
Yes.
The last 5 games, he destroyed offensive lines in the middle, and you don't get that all the time. That is big news for Florida. I saw that.
It really is.
Brent, we got to go. Excellent stuff, my friend. I hope we can do it Wednesday and a couple times the rest of the week, as always. Thanks for everything you do for our show, buddy. We appreciate you. That's Brent Beard. That'll wrap it up. Fast Moving Monday. We hope you enjoyed as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. We'll get together tomorrow. You know where we'll be. Deep in the heart of Mandarin. Come by and say hi. Hurricane in Joint Street.
For those dealing with pain from a sports injury, arthritis, or spine condition, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists offers innovative new non-surgical options. Our regenerative medicine treatments, including platelet-rich plasma and other regenerative treatments, use your body's own restorative cells to aid in treating injuries. These procedures are performed in our offices and typically require minimal downtime. If you want to get back to doing what you love, our regenerative treatment options may be right for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jags Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jags Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jags Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jax to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jax in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jax 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms. Whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV, you can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jax 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained, and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable.